Hello. So I'm going to go through our portfolios for our web pages, for our websites, and give you guys some feedback on those, how they're looking so far. I had hoped that they would be edited, but I understand that you're going to want to hear my feedback for a lot of these. So please make sure you're paying attention or even taking down notes of things that you need to do. And I will experiment with your images and show you what I would do. Okay, so without further ado, we'll go to Holly's. And Holly did hers in separate PDFs, which is fine. She's got her landscapes. I love this reflection here. But actually, Holly, I would bring back some of the detail in the sky. And I want to show you how to do that. So I'm going to pause it for a sec. Okay, so I just opened up a screenshot. So this is a really, pretty poor quality image as a screenshot. But I can still kind of show you really good tricks that you can do to... because the sky is so pale and some of the detail is lost, and you could use some saturation, things like that. So let's try Camera Raw. Now if you have a raw image and you want to use Camera Raw, that is so much better. It really is. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So if you see, these are all your options here for just the first, like the sliders. In basic, I would decrease the exposure a little bit. I would decrease the highlights and the whites because we've got so much white in that sky. And then increase clarity. You can increase saturation. So notice that I'm just making really slight changes. I'm not doing anything too crazy. But there's so many options in here. Okay, let's try increasing the contrast. One of my favorite things to do. And vibrance is nice, saturation nice. Okay, now I'm going to close out basic and see what else do I want to do here. Maybe I want to increase the greens. Which way do I want to go with that? Do I want to go more to the blue-green, more to the deeper green? You usually can tell if you slide it all the way. I think that's really a lovely color, actually. And we can play with the greens too, like, more of a bright summer green. Okay, and let's see what's under effects. No, we don't want that. Let's go back to the basic. Maybe a little bit more on the clarity. But now down here, I can show you before and after. It's deeper, it's clearer, it's got more vibrance and saturation. I mean, it's really up to you in the end, but my recommendation is to definitely play with these things. Okay, so I'm going to close that out. And let's go back to the rest of your images. Okay, This one you might want to play around with a little bit as well. You know, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful image. Maybe increase the saturation of the colors a little bit. This one, you need to go in and straighten. And if you're not sure how to do that, just text me or email me and I'll show you that trick again. So that's our landscapes. Let's go to the next one. I'll pause a second screen. Okay, so these are new portraits, and I think they're really sweet. But I would experiment again with recovering those highlights, and that's what that's called when your sky is blown out. Oh, I forgot I was going to show you something. Hold on. Okay, so I hope this works out, but opening this image up in Photoshop again, and the camera raw filter, which is filter, camera raw filter. The first one that we already went over, but the third one has some masking capabilities, and you can select the sky, you can select the subject, and then you can do things to what you selected or the opposite, which is kind of cool. So just say we're selecting the sky. See how it's all highlighted in pink now? I can just work on the sky and not worry about my figures. You know, just take that exposure down a little bit. Maybe increase contrast. Reduce highlights and whites. I mean, it really is something that you can play with. You know, so you don't want a sky that looks white, because, you know, the sky should always have some color to it to maintain interest. So you can make it cooler, warmer. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to show you. It doesn't work like amazingly well on this this image, but it actually worked great on the last image that I was working on. And yeah, there's things that you can do here beyond just the sky. Like, say, let's try. Oh, let's go back and forth on that one. See how white? And then, I mean, it looks more like a stormy sky there, what I did, but you can see the potential for change. And let's see if we create a new mask and select the subject, which are these folks. You know, we can, let's see, what we would like to do. Maybe saturate their color a little bit. Make them a little bit more vibrant. Do you see what I mean? Let's look back and forth again. So now they've got a little bit more pink to their skin. So anyway, just food for thought. There we go. Alrighty. Oh, it's Photoshop. Okay. So we really want to show off our best here. You might want to experiment with selecting the subject here as well, and just warm them up a little bit. Now, if it doesn't look natural, obviously, don't do it. You know, don't go that far. Just really subtle changes. Like this one, the sky is definitely blown out, which means the highlights are just way too high. And it's a little bit overexposed overall. So you really want it to look incredibly amazing. And then this one is a little bit dark. So I mean, great images, but I want you to work on them a little. The color of the light in there is really nice. Okay. Okay, continuing with Holly and her portraits. I like this one. I feel like you could select the subject in this one, in that camera raw filter, and brighten him up a little bit. Just bring a little bit more light to him. The background looks fine, sky looks fine. And I love this image. I love it. That is a great one. Now here, could use some increase in clarity, but also I would bring more light to him. He looks a little bit in the shadows, whereas, you know, this background is so beautiful. So beautiful and bright. Okay, so that's the end of that one. Let's go to the next. Alright, here's Holly. That's such a funny picture. It's a pet portrait. And this one's really cute as well. But again, I would, you know, work on that background. It is very overexposed. And I can see how you would need the light on your little sweetie pie here. She's a doll. So that we can see her features and, you know, her coat and the shine and all of those details. And then this one I really like still. So those we could consider your pet portraits. And then I know you've got some single images here. Let me squeeze into my video window here. Okay. So here we have portrait of this little darling. Oh my gosh, she's so adorable. What a supermodel. But overall the image is just underexposed. You know, it's too dark. And then when you increase the exposure, you have to also increase contrast and maybe saturate it up a little bit. Make those images pop. You want people to just go, oh my gosh, this girl has got to do my portraits. This is really well composed. I think it's gorgeous. You know, I can see all of her, so I can tell you we're following my feedback. But again, it's a little dark. Natural lighting works for a lot of things, but in a portrait, you know, if her skin looks kind of, you know, unnaturally dark, we're going to want to brighten that up. And then I've got one more here. And again, super well composed, Holly. I think this is wonderful. Really cute. I still am not sure if they're brother and sister, but it's adorable. But yeah, I again would increase the exposure on your subject, and then increase saturation, clarity, maybe even vibrance to warm them up. Okay, let me see if I had any notes from Holly. Should have. Guess not. Okay, so Holly, I'm missing your raw images. So let me know if you need help with that, and I will certainly help you all along the way. We can do it over the phone and do step by step, okay? Alright, here goes Ivy. So Ivy's notes, her strongest style is portraits and capturing the person's personality. And no questions so far. Okay, good. Alright, let's look at Ivy's portfolio. So this is her personal choice. Lovely. Great, great, great. It's beautiful. Such an interesting image. Again, I would straighten that line in the background, or even straighten these vertical lines. It's just a little bit off kilter. And farm life portraits. Love it. So cute. Yeah, these are adorable. I love this birdie. And I don't even know what kind of birdie it is. Is it a turkey? I really can't tell. I mean, I'm aware of like pheasants and grouse and all of those kind of birds, but I can't really tell what this guy is. He sure is adorable. He looks so fluffy and soft and such beautiful colors. This cracks me up because, you know, I see that you got a bull here. How many legs does this bull have? Doesn't it appear to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legs? So that's kind of funny. I think that the color of the grass could be a little bluer, you know, it could be a little bit more saturated that way. And I would experiment with bringing up the light on the subject here in your Camera Raw filter in Photoshop. Because, you know, it's a little dark, too dark to see more than, it's almost a silhouette. And beautiful, beautiful. Nice straight horizon, that's gorgeous. This one is like slightly off. Beautiful image. And again, beautiful. However, when you have a series like this, you know, I see that you're cropping your images, but they're not all the same ratio. So that's something that you want to, like, say this was your aspect ratio that you like the best, and say it's like, I don't know, 9 by 12. It's probably wider than that. 8 by 12 probably. So then your other images should also be cropped to 8 by 12, even if it's, you know, like the horizontal was 12 by 8, the verticals would be 8 by 12, same aspect ratio. So that's really important. So you might want to go back and recrop those, is what I'm saying. Okay, and your still lives. Seems like so long ago, doesn't it? Seems like a year ago. Very nice. And then outdoors. I would work on increasing the exposure on this one, and, you know, maybe some saturation, because it is a nice image. This one I'm not super fond of. I think I would pick something else for that one. And this one, of course, one of our favorites. Gorgeous. Love that. And again, I would increase the exposure. You know, maybe even play with the sky a little bit to increase the color there. But yes, a nice image. Okay, so far so good. Ivory, just have a few updates to do. Okay, now let's look at our next victim, Melissa. Okay, so Melissa, I'll move myself out over here somewhere. Okay, so food photography, definitely, definitely. That is your go-to hustle there. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Ooh, macro. Oh, I could already see, you know, the droplets of juices coming out of the fruits, and or even, you know, like one of the tricks that I like with macro is to take a little spray bottle, you know, with a fine mist, and, you know, give it a little bit of misty quality so it looks super fresh. And that with that The macro lens. Well, I'll tell you. If you look into your camera a little bit more, your widest aperture is going to give you similar to a macro effect. You're just going to have to get super close as your camera will allow you to take a picture. And also, one suggestion is if you have like a hobby shop or a camera shop anywhere near you, you can rent a lens for the day. Rent a macro lens. So, options. And okay, I'm glad you like that Creative Cloud website. Okay, all of this looks good. One challenge I have is getting my images that were photographed in portrait to load and stay in portrait orientation. Yeah, that's just one of those things that you can ask Google or ask the Adobe community, and they will certainly help you. And if you're still not finding the answers you want, you and I can always experiment. Okay, so let's see. So Ivy was also missing her raw images. And I see we've got Melissa's raw images here. And I think that's just going to make it open up in Photoshop. So I see them, you've got them. That's really all I wanted to make sure that you had the capability to save your images as raw. And let's look at your portfolio. We're going to want to zoom in a little bit on these guys. I need to get this to go away. There we go. That's better. That's annoying me. Okay, so we know your food photography is exceptional. I don't have any problems with that whatsoever. Your still life, one of my favorite subjects there, old canvas. And your hubby's bunny foo-foo here. That's cute. And your giraffe with that great shadow. Lovely colors. Okay, and there's your portrait work. Very, very nice. Oh, that's adorable. And your landscape's so interesting. Good choices there. Okay, these are also awesome. I guess that's a fast shutter speed image. I don't remember, but you might want to remind me. And I love this flower. Okay, rules of composition. Just the wetness of those images really make them a nice pairing. Geometry, and what did you call these? Oh, compositional rules. So when you title the image, you might want to give it the name of its compositional rule that you followed. Just, just an idea. And, alright, we're ready for Sydney. Sydney's notes, and she really enjoys black and white. And it brings a classic look. I mean, agreed. I actually do really like black and white, but I always increase the contrast to make it a really, really strong contrast. And you don't want to go too far. You want to have all those shades of gray in between, but you want to have a really strong black and a really bright white. That's my suggestion for that. Yeah, and I agree. I think, that little series that you did with the walk around your town with historical spots, you had some great pictures there. I would just be careful about the ones where, it's just like, look at this. It has to be something that you composed. You know, it's your own take. Okay, personal choice series. I would make sure that you're noting that this is an event. I mean, it could even be holiday events, but I mean, events is much broader and could include many more things. And let's see, your landscapes. Very nice. Your skies look good. You might want to saturate them just a teeny bit. And your food looks delicious. And your portraits are super cute. This is by far my favorite. Love it. Okay, and here's black and white. So really interesting sights around town. And I think that the contrast on these two is pretty much perfect. This one I think could use a little more contrast. I see some deep grays, but maybe not so much black, and really not so much white. So you want to have just, you know, a little bit of each of those that are obvious. Okay, so that's it for Sydney. Sydney's got her 3 raw files, but actually Sydney, 2 of them are the same image. So just make sure you're turning in that 3rd one, and I'll note that when I put in your grades. But I hope this helped everyone. We will have a response to the feedback for Chapter 14, and it's such an easy 100 points to just throw that in with your next post. You know, how you felt about it, you know, what things you're going to use, if you have any questions, anything like that. And happy Thanksgiving. Oh my gosh. This week is our week off, so we don't have an assignment due on Sunday. Woo! But we'll be getting back to our portfolio and our website right after the break, and then we'll have a couple weeks to do that. So it's pretty much smooth sailing from here on out. Some of you have more editing to do than others, and that's okay. It's not that hard. You can do it. You got this. And if you don't got this, you know, just let me know and I will help. Okay. Good night, everybody.